Thank you for joining us today at HExagon TV. I'm your host, Richard Fisher, publisher of Inside Unmanned Systems. And today we're discussing Safety Critical with Michael Ritter, President and CEO of HExagon Positioning Intelligence, and Jason Hamilton, Vice President of NovAtel, a division of HExagon Positioning Intelligence. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We're delighted you're here. First question, let's jump right in. There's a trend now clearly towards vehicle autonomy. That is, what are the trends driving vehicle autonomy? Anywhere from helping the operator, which we've seen in automotive and precision agricultural applications, all the way up to eventually reducing and eliminating the need and the responsibility of the driver.
Yeah, one immensely important aspect is safety. Accident avoidance is a big topic today. Roughly 34,000 people die every year from vehicular accidents just in the United States. Most of those accidents, 95% actually, could be avoided if the human error wouldn't be present. So by going to more autonomous driving, we reduce a lot of fatalities in the United States and a lot of injured people. And if you project that to the entire world, that's a very important reason to go to autonomous driving.
Yeah. So in addition to safety being kind of a primary driver, Jason, what are the other drivers of this adoption?
The other important factor is efficiency. Across a number of industries, everyone's trying to maximize the use of their infrastructure, of their vehicles. If we can automate the driving or improve the systems used by the drivers, we can maximize the use of those of that infrastructure. In the automotive sense, that's maximizing our road infrastructure, doing a better job of managing traffic, eliminating accidents. Will reduce the congestion on the roads and improve the experience for everyone using that infrastructure, and save on things like energy costs as well.
Thanks. So safety and efficiency. So can you discuss why positioning is becoming increasingly important for all autonomous vehicle operation? We've seen the positioning needs are beginning to change as they're being deployed in ADAS systems right now, and how will that change as they are being adopted in fully autonomous driving?
Yeah, if you don't have a driver any longer in a vehicle, the vehicle on its own needs to know at all times where it is, needs to know on what street it is, in what city, in what block, but it needs as well to know on what lane it is. And so you need an absolute position of that vehicle to determine that, because there is no more driver that can look around at familiar objects and decide where he is with the vehicle. So that's one aspect.
Okay. Jason, do you have anything to add to that?
That's very important. The precision, the accuracy of the positioning is critical. We have to know exactly where we are on the road. We also have to be able to trust that positioning system. So we have to know that the system hasn't been hacked, it hasn't been jammed, it hasn't been interfered with in some way. So we have to build a different kind of positioning system than we've used in the past to ensure the safety of these vehicles on the road. Nobody wants to see something disastrous happen because the car thinks it's in one position and in fact it's in another position entirely.
So HExagon Positioning Intelligence has a great deal of experience deploying autonomous vehicles in military, in mining applications, in precision agriculture. How will these positioning technologies need to evolve when the driver is no longer in control and on the country's highways?
So we actually have great success in these industries in the military with the autonomous positioning that we provide. But the big factor is cost. Yeah, a military system can be above $100,000 per unit. In agricultural systems, still in around $5,000, $6,000 unit range. In order to make it available to a fleet of commercial or consumer autonomous vehicles, we have to drive down cost of that equipment. And that's one important factor.
So to follow up on that, Jason, how do you go about accomplishing that? That's a pretty significant challenge?
Well, obviously, the volumes will be much different in that industry than in lots of the industries we've worked in the past. But not only will the product need to be different, it'll need to be developed differently than a GNSS receiver is developed today. This has been solved in industries like civil aviation previously, right? They have a different set of development standards to build a product against that ensures the product will be safe and reliable and robust in the environment that it's meant to go into. So for civil aviation, accuracy of multiple meters is good enough, and those vehicles operate in a very controlled environment. As we move that same kind of thinking down onto roads and streets, the problem becomes much different, right? We're aiming for a much tighter positioning window, often 10 or 20 centimeters. We're working in a much different environment where there's many more things to interfere with the GPS signal. So the problem statement is much different than it is for an aviation use case. So that's the big challenge, is developing a product that's going to be robust in all of those environments, as well as a product that we can guarantee is going to give a safe position to the vehicle subsystems.
So the challenge really is then to drive out enough cost and then still providing the safety envelope appropriate to the use for automotive.
Yep.
That's a huge challenge. That's you've got it in a nutshell there.
So how does your experience, I know you have a lot of experience in safety critical applications in aviation, for example, the Wide Area Augmentation System, WAAS. You've got a great deal of experience in. So how does that experience and competency pre-position you for the automotive safety critical applications that are sure to follow?
For the past 20 years, we have created receivers and systems that ensure safe flying and safe landing of aircraft, not just in the United States with the WAAS system, but as well for Europe, for Japan, for Russia, for India, other places. So all the investigations we did to figure out what parts of the chain, from the satellite up in the sky to all the disturbances that happen in the ionosphere, to the receiver on the plane, to the plane itself, what it's doing with that information and how it could maybe influence that stuff. How we deal with all of this has been a significant investigation in the full safety chain of events, and that principle translate very easily to autonomous driving. As Jason mentioned, it becomes a little bit more complex, but most of the work on how to approach the safety chain has actually been done and repeatedly been done by us for the past 20 years. We just recently, again, shipped the next generation landing system to the FAA in the United States that will only come into effect with aircraft in 5 years from now, but we have already done that homework for the future. Now we have to repeat it for autonomous vehicles.
So safety of life applications is something that NovAtel's and HExagon positioning intelligence are very comfortable with. What else do you have to think about, Jason, as you look to the automotive market? Driverless cars, there's a great deal of reluctance by consumers and the public out there. And essentially what you are talking about is a fundamental shift in mobility and new transportation paradigms. What is it that you have to consider as you think about driving these solutions into the market in a way that consumers are going to not only adopt but embrace these solutions?
Some of the experience so far with the first autonomous systems that have rolled out is that drivers are very quick to trust this technology. And when it's in the vehicle, it has to be robust and it has to be reliable. If drivers are going to give up control of their vehicles, the systems have got to be trustworthy. And that tipping point when the control of the vehicle moves from the driver to the system itself, when the occupants of the car go from being drivers to just being passengers, that's a critical point. And we need to make sure that all the systems going into the vehicle are robust and going to deliver that level of safety that we're not going to end up with more accidents on the roads, but we're going to cut those down dramatically from where we are today. Civil aviation has showed that that's entirely possible and achievable, and I definitely think that the automobile industry is going the same direction.
Yeah, great point. In fact, when you consider the real cost of some of the crashes and the lost productivity, they peg real cost to the United States economy at $230 billion related to the over 30,000 crashes that you referenced earlier, Michael. So there's an enormous economic incentive to adopt this and adopt it in the nearer term than what many people would think. So we're running out of time a bit here, so I'd pose a last question to you both. So fast forward 5 years. What role does Hexagon Positioning and Intelligence play in enabling automotive OEMs and Tier 1 manufacturers to have access to worldwide autonomous positioning? Michael, thoughts?
So we are currently working with the majority of the Tier 1s and manufacturers already, but 5 years from now, we believe that we will be the trusted partner for the majority of the automotive companies, automotive Tier 1 companies, in providing a trustworthy absolute position to their vehicles, and as well provide a trustworthy infrastructure to their entire positioning system through our worldwide base station network.
Jason, final thoughts?
I think 5 years from now, Hexagon Positioning Intelligence products, technology, data, and services will all be working behind the scenes in every autonomous car, making sure that all those cars are guided safely down the road. You won't necessarily know we're there, but we'll be there keeping everything safe.
Important work for sure. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us today. Michael Ritter, Jason Hamilton. For more about NovAtel, visit novatel.com/autonomous vehicles. For more on HExagon TV, or to watch additional episodes or this episode again, please tune to HExagontv.com. Thanks for watching.